Hi ho ho, it's me, Robert Rodriguez, back at it again with a new episode of the Boy Time Podcast, and as always, I'm joined by just Babby. Don't know where Paul is, but uh, I
Be
think
anywhere.
could be anywhere, could be nowhere. It's hard to say. I have placed a bounty on his head. I made sure to make it dead or alive, but hopefully they get the kind of clues that I was giving that I wanted him back alive. But,
Maybe.
I feel like when you make a wanted poster for someone, you got to give the option so that it's like you can tell how urgent it is.
Real.
And it's like, I need Paul here now. I need him dead or alive.
I
But
just hire
actually,
my hitman on Fiverr usually.
that's a better idea, probably. That way you can kind of give
Yeah, you
direct.
can do the description and it's like,
Yeah, give
I'm going to say dead or
instructions.
alive, but you should probably get him alive.
Please,
Heavily implied.
heavily implied. It would be frowned upon if you brought him to my doorstep dead.
Yeah.
But I can't get too angry because I did say dead or alive. So that's on me.
Exact.
Yeah. But, but so we're going to have to truck on without Paul this week. Hopefully the bounty hunter brings him in for next week. But we have a slam dunk episode, I guess. Last week I watched Machete. Was that last week? Feels like it
I
was
think
like
so, yeah.
forever ago. But yeah, I guess that was last week. I watched Machete, and this week I was like, you know what? It's so hot outside. I'm gonna watch all winter movies.
Ooh.
And and then I realized that every movie set in the winter that isn't like Groundhog's Day or Ghostbusters 2 or something is like really, really like heady or intense or I don't know, just stressful. Because I was gonna watch The Revenant and Misery and Eternal Sunshine for the Spotless Mind, and I'm like, actually, I don't want to do that right now. So I was like, you know what? I watched Robert Rodriguez stuff last week. Let's just keep it going. So I watched
Yes,
two
sir.
more Robert Rodriguez movies. I don't know if they were both pre Spy Kids. One definitely is, one might be. I'm not sure. But so the first one I watched was From Dusk Till Dawn, which is a movie that has Tarantino in it. I believe Tarantino wrote it, and then Robert Rodriguez directed it, which is interesting. So you have a bunch of, it's a cast of Tarantino esque people, and then the weirdo schlock action of Robert Rodriguez. And it works really well, actually. And I'm going to spoil the movie, but I think it's pretty hard to avoid this spoiler just because I feel like when you look it up, it'll be one of the genres. It's kind of like a style spoiler in the sense that, like, you know, I think it would be better to go into like the world's end without knowing that it's like an alien movie and just have that like complete reveal happen. And it's kind of the same thing with this movie. So if you want to watch From Dusk Till Dawn, I would recommend it. But let's talk about why it's a weird subversive vampire movie now. Because
Ooh.
it's not a vampire movie for like 80% of the movie. And then it's just a vampire movie at the end, which is kind of weird and crazy. Because the first like 60% of the movie, we're following these two criminals played by George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino, which finally Tarantino is playing a cartoon criminal, sex offender, foot fetishist.
Ooh, of
That's
course.
right. That's right. There
Just
are
playing
two.
himself.
He wrote the script, casted himself in the role, and there are two scenes where he either gawks at feet or sucks on feet.
Let's go.
Yes. You know, the first scene came up and I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. Mainly because it's an underage girl, and we've all seen that picture of Tarantino with the possibly
Yes.
underage girl where he's sucking her toes. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of odd, because the whole crux of the story is that Tarantino and George Clooney are runaway criminals that are on a kind of crime spree. They murdered a bunch of people, and now they're trying to get their loot across the border to Mexico, to a kind of like sanctuary place. And so they, I guess they take like a family hostage. It's a dad and then his two kids. Takes them hostage, and then they drive their RV across the border so that like the family can be used as kind of a front, so that the sneaky criminals can hide in the back. And it is established that Tarantino's character is a sex offender, possibly a like, well, not possibly, definitely kind of a rapey type fella, and and the underage daughter. There's a scene where he's like looking her up, he's checking her out, and it cuts from Tarantino like staring kind of down to feet. And it's like the best. It's I had to like stop everything and be like, whoa, 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 and then I had to watch it again because I'm like, this is the best shot in cinematic history, where it cuts from Tarantino. What is it called? A shot reverse shot, where it's
Hmm.
like, what are they looking at? Feet. I'm like, that checks out. That checks out. So he's looking up at this underage girl, and so like the entire time you're like, this guy sucks. Like I'm not rooting for this guy at all. But the place where they're supposed to meet is this. It's a strip joint called the Titty Twister, and it turns out that the Titty Twister is a strip club that, at the end of the movie, and I'm not sure how to take this. It was the weirdest closing shot that this movie could have had, but it establishes that this strip club joint is the top of an old, like, I don't know, some sort of like Native American like pyramid. I don't want to say like Aztec or Mayan just because I don't know which civilization it would be. Knowing the 90s, it was probably just generic Aztec or whatever.
Temple. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Just old pyramid, like, I don't, not Machu Picchu. There's a famous one, but I can't think of it right now. But basically, the rest of the pyramid has been buried under sand, and so just the top of it is sticking out, and that's what they turned into a strip joint that they lure in a bunch of bikers and truckers, and then they bar the doors, and then the vampires go crazy, and it's pretty good. Tarantino was one of the first people to get bitten, so it was a good moment. But the 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 second foot instance with Tarantino is, so it's like a strip joint, and then there's like, they're like, okay, now that all of the main plot exposition has been done, it's time for these the time where the main dancer comes out, and we're just gonna watch her kind of gyrate around on stage. And that actress is Selma Hayek, a younger Selma Hayek, because I think this movie came out in '94. So she's doing her thing, and then, in all these movies, like, that person always kind of like picks out the main character and, like, whispers something in their ear, or, they do some flirty stuff with the main character, but it's all part of the act. And so she picks Tarantino to do that too, and she sticks her foot in his mouth and then pours a beer down her leg so that the beer trickles off of her feet into Tarantino's mouth.
His
And
mind is something else.
it really is. I saw that interview has been floating around recently, like that quote where it's like, "I'm not into feet. It's just good directing." Like,
Okay.
this movie completely confirmed it to me. Like, when it isn't him in it, it's like, okay, there's like a layer removed. But watching him suck on Selma Hayek's feet while beer was being poured into his mouth, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. There's not a shadow of a doubt in my mind that this man is a sexual deviant.
Got
Not
that dog in him.
He's got that dog in him.
And by dog, I mean feces.
Yes, pause.
Yes.
But yeah, it's fun. It has Frank Ziti in it.
I love Frank Ziti.
The best guy ever. He has a cock gun.
Ooh.
Yeah, he has like a little, I guess like a loincloth or something over his jeans, and then when he rips the loincloth off, it's like a revolver, like barrel, and then there's like two ammo chambers that are the nuts. I'm like, this is just the worst thing ever. And of course, his character's name is Sex Machine. I exclusively everyone in the movie calls him Sex Machine. Even his own internal dialogue calls himself Sex Machine. So
That's awesome.
I'm assuming that's his legal name. At birth, his parents probably named him Sex Machine. But yeah, it's kind of great because there's like the first big brawl where like everybody, the vampires close the doors, and then it's just like a couple characters that make it out, and it's most of our main characters, and then there's Sex Machine, and then there's like buff black guy who's like a Vietnam vet, which is I guess kind of a trope, and it's kind of funny because like right before they get ready to like, yeah, we gotta let these vampires in, gotta kill them. And then the big black guy is like, oh, this reminds me of my time in Nam. And then he just like starts like telling a story, and then Sex Machine is having this like internal dialogue like over the story. So we don't even really see what everyone's listening to. But this guy is telling the story about
Because
Nam.
nobody cares.
Nobody really cares. But Sex Machine's got a lot of stuff to think about. So it's a great movie. I was like, I think I had seen like there's this one quote that I see from this movie all the time. It's like right before the big showdown where George Clooney is like loading a gun, and he's like, we got to get ready to fight these vampires, and I don't want anyone to say they don't believe in vampires because I don't fucking believe in vampires, but I believe in my own two fucking eyes, and what I see is vampires. I don't know why I see that so much. It's very specific, and it's like a Tarantino thing that he would write, mainly because the word "fuck" is used so much in it. But yeah, I mean, I would recommend it. It's kind of a weird. It was in that kind of era of Tarantino's kind of thing, where it's like post blaxploitation. Which, if you have not seen, one of my favorite Tarantino quotes of all time is while I think it was maybe after he was making Jackie Brown, and they were doing like an interview with him. And someone asked him, like, hey, if you could be any superhero, who would you be? And he was like, I would be Luke Cage, the black superhero. Oh my God. Tarantino, calm down. But yeah, he was post blaxploitation. I think this post Kill Bill. This is kind of in between, I guess, like, I don't know if I want to say like retro Tarantino, but there's definitely like a distinct feel between like Jackie Brown and Reservoir Dogs, and then like Kill Bill through today. Like there's just kind of there's a difference to it. And this is kind of in between those, even though I know this came out after Kill Bill. But yeah, this is I guess Robert Rodriguez and Tarantino's first collaboration, I think, because then they went on to make the Grindhouse double feature, where they both did separate movies, but then I think they showed them together. Those movies being Planet Terror and Death Proof. And then in between those movies, they would sprinkle in fake trailers for like different movies, and they had like a bunch of directors come in. Like I think a young Edgar Wright did one. I know Robert Rodriguez did one because the fake trailer that he made was Machete, which, you know, he eventually turned into a thing. Which might be why his character's name is Machete in Spy Kids. It's probably an homage to the fake trailer. Little did they know that it would become a huge, huge franchise that we all know today. It's a cinematic universe of sorts.
It's true.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just called Grindhouse, that double feature, which I have not seen either of those movies. I think it's the one Tarantino movie I've not seen is Death Proof, which I should because Kurt Russell's in it and I love Kurt Russell. Yeah, that was the first Robert Rodriguez movie I watched. The second one is, it's called Frank Miller's Sin City. But I think it's based on graphic novels by Frank Miller, but Frank Miller also has directing and screenwriting credits. But other than that, it's Robert Rodriguez. It doesn't feel like a Robert Rodriguez movie just because it's like really serious. Because like I think the tone is ripped straight from the graphic novels, and based on the movie, those graphic novels are dark as all get out. But I guess with the title like Sin City, I guess you would guess. But that does raise the question if this movie takes place in Cincinnati. Because
Worst place.
That is the only Sin City that I can think of.
Las Vegas does not exist.
No. Well, it definitely doesn't take place in Las Vegas. I mean, it doesn't look like Las Vegas at all. But I mean, I had seen like stills from this movie before because it has a very distinct style. It came out in 2005. I don't know if it was inspired by Schindler's List, but it would be a really weird thing to take inspiration from. But, you know, famously, Schindler's List is almost entirely in black and white, and then there is one little girl, I think, getting on the train to Auschwitz who has a red jacket. And that is it's very distinct. It sticks in your mind because it's the one thing that has color. And this movie similarly is mostly black and white, and there is just like kind of highlights of color throughout, mostly in people's eyes. And then in the end, there's just a straight up yellow guy. So I'm assuming this is a precursor to Minions.
Art Simpson.
Or Mark. It might be. Kind of looks like Homer, actually. But yeah, it is. It's very, very dark. It's a neo-noir. So there's like, I don't know if I would count Blade Runner as a neo-noir. I guess I would count the no, actually, it is a neo-noir. But the theatrical version is definitely more of a traditional neo-noir in that it has like narration and stuff. Because that is, I think it's a kind of, it's like a misconception that like noir movies are known for like their narration and kind of stuff like that. But that, I think that's more a neo-noir thing where later on when people would do that kind of style, they would have the narration, the kind of internal dialogue stuff. You watch like Double Indemnity or like The Maltese Falcon. I don't think they have any sort of narration or anything. It's just like people talking because it's a movie from the 50s and that's all that those people knew how to do. Let's have a sci-fi movie where a 50-foot woman attacks people, but 90% of the movie is just going to be scientists talking in a room about nuclear fear. What if there's a big woman, what if she ate a uranium cake? I haven't seen that movie, but I'm assuming that that's or what if this woman bought a bag that had a uranium in it? Had some, why can't I think of any other radioactive substance?
Plutonium.
Plutonium. Yeah. Just because women do be shopping.
Women do be shopping.
Yeah. But yeah, so Sin City. It's an anthology movie. Bruce Willis is on the cover. He is. I was like, man, he's like barely in it because he's in the first part, and the first part is like maybe 10 minutes, if that. I'm like, oh, they made the really short one. I got Bruce Willis in it. That tracks. But then he's back in like the last one is his, so it kind of makes up for it. But yeah, the first thing I'll do kind of a kind of breakdown to the first one just to kind of set the tone for what the whole movie's like. But basically, Bruce Willis plays a kind of older cop. I think he's supposed to be playing older than he actually was at that point. Because, in 2005, Bruce Willis was maybe in his late 40s, early 50s. But, like, he talks like he's an old guy. And he's like, I'm old enough to be someone's grandpa. And I'm like, not, well, maybe. if you had a kid when you were 18 and then that kid had a kid when they were 18, but even then it's like, but yeah, he's an old down and out cop, and he has a tip that there is a child trafficking ring going on that is being headed up by the senator's son, and nobody wants to break it up because this senator is super powerful and nobody in the city wants to touch him, even though he's crooked. But Bruce Willis is going to get to the bottom of the case, and he finds a little, I think like an 11-year-old girl is being held, or I guess getting bought by the senator's son, and then the senator's son is running away, but Bruce Willis saves the day. And he shoots the guy's hand off, and then he shoots his dick off. He's like, I took away his weapon. Both of them. Like, oh, hell yeah. And then he talks to the little, I think he has like a heart condition, and then he just like dies. And then he's like, old man dies, young girl lives, good trade-off. Like the whole thing is written like Rorschach. like a caveman. But it's also kind of like Rorschach from Watchmen. Like that famous what is it, the Pagliacci joke, where it's sad guy goes to doctor and says, I am super depressed. You should see a clown. He's the funniest guy. You have to see Pagliacci. But doctor, I am Pagliacci. Curtains close. Applause. Good joke.
What a nerd.
Yeah. Good guy, Rorschach, actually.
Yeah.
Pretty cool
famously.
guy. Pretty cool guy. I like him a lot. Think he's pretty neat. I think he's actually cooler than Batman. I have a pop figure of Rorschach. So that's how you know I'm a cool guy.
Real. I love Funko Pops.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, this movie's pretty good. It doesn't have like any of the I guess Jessica Alba's in it, which is the kind of Robert Rodriguez mainstay, but like Danny Trejo isn't in it, Antonio Banderas isn't in it, Tarantino isn't in it. Surprisingly enough, Elijah Wood plays a serial killer. The weirdest casting.
How does that work?
He plays a werewolf serial killer.
Oh, I was like, does he do like a Paul Dano kind of thing? Or?
No, not really. He doesn't even talk.
Oh.
He doesn't. I don't think he says a single word of dialogue the whole time. His thing is that he just kind of like smiles and stares.
Just like me for real.
Yeah, like it's honestly kind of chilling because like the main character in that story has him tied up, and so then there's like a close-up shot of like him like tied up to a tree, and it's just Elijah Wood's face, and he's just like staring and smiling, and then it kind of like pulls out, and then you see that his arms and legs have been ripped off, and he's like just staring and smiling, and I'm like, oh, that's a good visual. Ooh. And the serial killer, like, he would like eat people, but then like his dog would get the scraps, so then the main character has that dog eat Elijah Wood as like that's the way to kill him. And like the whole time that the dog is eating him, he doesn't like make a sound. I'm like, man, that is honestly that's like great. And I think the movie does for the most part kind of live up to that. It's very dark and grimy, but there is kind of a layer of cartoonishness over it. I mean, it's adapted from graphic novels that that kind of style is still kind of there. It feels like guns are really, really powerful. Or like, a revolver is like shooting someone's hand off, and then like a bunch of blood is coming out. And like, I don't know if that would be a pretty powerful revolver for it to shoot someone's like entire like forearm off. I don't know. Maybe it happens. I'm no gun expert, but
I don't shoot people
I
often.
have not shot many people.
Not a lot of experience.
No, but it just doesn't feel like that was super realistic. And also, people get shot a lot and are fine. So, yeah, like the main character in the second one, like I didn't count how many times he was shot, but it's probably in the double digits, and he was fine. They even had to
Plot
like
armor.
pretty much, yeah. But he's a really big, beefy guy. One of the characters, for some reason, in that one, like it's the main character's internal dialogue for most of it, and then just for one shot, it switches to someone else's perspective in the bar, and it's like, this guy, I kind of feel bad for this guy. He's very out of time. He would have really fit in as an ancient soldier using an axe to cave someone's face in, and then the army would reward him with a woman of his choice. And then it goes back to the main character's perspective. I was like, okay, it's really random, but I guess. But my guess is that this is a kind of Watchmen situation where everything is ripped straight from the graphic novels, which is probably why the author has a screenwriting credit. And a lot of the dialogue does not seem like Robert Rodriguez dialogue. So, like, it's probably one of those things where it is a shot for shot kind of adaptation, which is fine. I really liked this movie. It's very, very cool. And I'm into dark, gritty stuff, so right up my alley. But both of them are on Max. So there you go. That and King Kong,
Yay.
the old one, which is my favorite one, honestly. But
The classic.
yeah. But yeah, that's it for movie stuff. There's not a whole lot to say about these two, just because they're kind of straightforward. But they're very fun. They're fun movies. They're fun action schlock, like Machete was. Sin City is a little more intense. I would say if you're sensitive to anything, probably stay away from it. Just because if there is anything that triggers you, it's in the movie. I don't care what it is. It's probably in the movie. So, yeah, stay away from that one. But or watch it and see for yourself. I encourage anyone with sensitivities to watch everything. That's kind of my rule of thumb.
Just get over it, haha.
Get over it. It's like I don't understand why you can't just watch everything
It's
I watch.
not real.
It's not real, and I don't have any problems with it, so I don't understand why other people would have problems with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've been saying this forever, but I think that's it. That's it. All that I have. It's a pretty short segment this week. Next week, I don't know what's gonna be going on in terms of stuff that I'm going to be doing. I think Starfield might be out. I think it comes out on the 5th.
Might be, yeah.
I probably won't play it day one, just because
It's just
I want to see
don't
how
do
this
that,
shakes
Bethesda.
out.
Yeah. I'm just waiting from afar to see how it goes.
You guys like this?
Is this good?
Is it good?
Does it work?
Yeah, I did see that they said that modders are going to be able to create planets and stories.
Mm.
And if that's true, then we could be getting like, I really want like this to be kind of like my ideal is like for this to be like a sandbox type thing where modders can like recreate planets from like other stuff, or like you can go to the Dune planet or the interstellar planet, the big water wall, or
Skyrim planet.
Skyrim planet. Be awesome. I was gonna say Blade Runner, but I don't. That needs to be its own thing. Don't even try to make Blade Runner planet because it's not gonna work. And also, that's kind of cyberpunk, but
True.
Blade Runner isn't as like sex obsessed as cyberpunk is. I feel like every store in cyberpunk was like a strip joint
Yeah.
or sold sex work in some way. It's like, okay,
It's a cyberpunk city.
that's true. Cyberpunk is nothing if not horny as shit.
It's true.
I've said it for years. I've always said that CD Projekt Red are just a bunch of sexual deviants. I don't know why I'm using that word so much today, but
Word
that's
of
it.
the day.
That's the word of the day: sexual deviant.
Use it in a sentence, everybody.
Quentin Tarantino sucking feet on the big screen because he's a sexual deviant.
Yes.
Eloquent. But I think without further ado, that's it for me. I'm going to toss it over to
Whoa.
Babby for his segment.
Yippee. I don't have a lot.
Oh,
They're busy. We did get a couple of things this week, though. One of them I have not listened to, and we will explain why.
oh,
But first, Spelling came out with a new album, Spelling in the Mystery School. It's a new album, but it's not a new album. These are all old songs, but reworked.
oh.
So, I mean, it's cool. I like it. Some of the turning wheel tracks, actually, they're all piled at the end here. Remade, sound pretty good. I don't know if I prefer like these renditions or the original renditions. They're both pretty sick. Yeah, it just has more of a live band feel. She does a lot of like 90s R&B stuffs on it, which is pretty cool. Definitely got some Janet in there, got some a little bit of Aaliyah in there.
The
She
Battle
just like
Angel?
really slowed it down on a couple. Yeah, so pretty good. There's not too much to talk about because there is no like new material on here. So I was hoping she was gonna actually release like new music since it's been 2 years. But I mean, if it's good, it's good, and it is good. So
Okay.
check it out if you're interested. The other thing that came out this week was the Earl Sweatshirt and Alchemist album.
Oh, it came out.
Voyeur Dire, I think it's called. It did come out, but it is on a NFT music service,
Oh, no.
which you can get for free, but you have to sign up for it, and I'm not doing that. So I think the actual album comes out on streaming in a month, so I will listen to it then.
That's shitty.
I don't like this rap saga thing of putting your album behind these weird paywalls, and it always seems to be like the like super anticipated like underground classics.
Yeah. Like Black Star.
Like the Black Star one. That one's still annoying to me. I know that was all to Quelly too.
Oh, well, yeah,
Crazy.
because he owns the
Yeah,
podcast thing.
I,
Yeah.
I have multiple bones to pick with him.
I do.
But yeah, so I'll listen to it when it's on streaming because it should come to streaming hopefully. Alchemist is a cool guy. I hope he's cool enough to put it on streaming because I don't want to have to do this thing. If it doesn't come on streaming, I'll download it, delete the thing, and just put it on Spotify local files. But that's
There you
still
go.
too much work. Just put it on streaming.
Yeah.
Like put it on Bandcamp even. Like I'll buy it on Bandcamp. Why don't people just do this?
I
But
don't know.
yeah. They did release a single on Spotify though. Sentry with Mike is on Spotify. And that song is really good. It's fantastic, even. Um, Again, there's nothing really too standout about it that I can really talk about. If you know who Earl Sweatshirt is and have listened to any of his previous albums, and you've listened to an Alchemist beat, you know what the song sounds like, and that's not a bad thing. So,
Yeah.
does great. Mike matches the energy perfectly, actually. He kind of comes in and just starts rapping right away, but it's like so monotone that like I couldn't tell if he was like doing the thing where like rappers will kind of like mumble their way into like actually starting the verse, but now he just like started it right away. But it's pretty great. I like it. So the album's been getting pretty good reviews. It's just like I don't want to do this stupid NFT service thing. So hopefully they put that on streaming services or at least YouTube or something, so I can listen to it. It's only 25 minutes long, so in typical Earl Sweatshirt fashion, I feel like he doesn't make anything over 25 minutes anymore.
No, which is so weird.
Yeah. And then today, podcast timing, we got another Arm & Hammer single from the new album. This one is Woke Up and Asked Siri How I'm Gonna Die. A great track name. And production by JPEG Mafia. It was surreal hearing I like JPEGs on an Arm & Hammer beat. I'm glad they let him keep the keep the tag in there.
I'm glad too.
But yeah, super happy that these guys are linking up after that stupidness from a couple of years ago. I'm glad that I think he has multiple production credits on the new album. But it's sounding good. It's sounding really abstract and really off kilter and aggressive, which is exactly what I want from this new record. I want it to be mean and in your face and crazy and off the wall. And from the two singles we've gotten, it's definitely that. So looking forward to that a lot. I think that comes out the 29th of September. Yeah, last week of September. So definitely most anticipated for me on that one. This week we have Slow Dive coming out. Everything is Alive. That comes out this Friday. Definitely gonna be listening to that. I think we'll skip the first reaction on this one, but I'll definitely be talking about it next week. Just because I've listened to basically half the album at this point, because they've released almost half of it as singles at this point. So, but very excited for that. I have very much enjoyed the three singles we've gotten. And I love the cover. The cover is so cool. So definitely will be listening to that. We have James Blake's new album, Playing Robots into Heaven, next Friday, the 8th. Excited for that. When did... I guess he released one in 2021. That seems like a lot longer ago than it actually was. But that album was pretty good. So definitely looking forward to that. And then Sampha announced that he's releasing a new album, finally. I feel like people have been wanting this forever. The last one he came out with was in 2017, and that was his first album. And he's just kind of done features here and there, but Sampha's kind of got almost a Frank Ocean level like talent to him, and also a Frank Ocean level like disappearance to him. So definitely excited that we're getting something. Yeah, so I'm sure this will be fantastic. I've really enjoyed him on all the features he's been on recently, especially Father Time on Mr. Morale. That song's so good.
Oh yeah.
So definitely looking forward to that. I don't think we have a confirmed release date on it, but I'm guessing it'll be within the year still. Mitski's got a new album coming out the 15th of September. Might listen to that one. Might do it on the channel eventually. Who knows? We've done a lot of Mitski. I forgot that we did like a lot of Mitski on the channel. It's been a long while since I've realized that Mitski still exists. So
Yeah, we done what, 3 records?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
So
kind of crazy.
that's coming. We got Sufjan in October.
Yes, sir.
October 6th, we'll be doing a video for that for show.
I already got the vinyl. Truthfully.
Yes.
Well, I got an email from him. He sent me personally an email.
Hi, Jerry from Boy Time.
Yes.
Buy my vinyl.
Well, it was, what was it? Sufjan Stevens made you something special. Just for me.
Was it one of those Spotify emails?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I always feel so special when they do that.
I do too. But yeah, it's a Coke bottle vinyl. I don't know what that means. If it's all from recycled Coke bottles, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
That might not sound very. I don't know.
We'll see.
Who knows?
It was $25.
Oh, that's easy cop.
Yeah, I'm
We should
like,
probably
well,
grab
okay,
that.
but there's only 2,000,
Oh,
so I got a limited edition.
I don't need the limited one, but yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
It
the
was cheap.
cover's definitely interesting. So
Yeah,
that's why this album feels like it should have came out like 7 years ago. Like I feel like that was his aesthetic for a while. Like
and it's very reminiscent of the oh why I can't
yeah,
say
all
it.
delighted people
All
and
Delighted People.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's very similar.
Which, and did you see that on the track list? There's like it's like something ghost.
Genuflecting ghost.
It's like the
Yeah, that's true.
enchanting ghost.
That's true.
Is it going to be a squeakle?
Interesting.
I don't
If
know.
it is, we have impeccable timing with just doing that.
That's such a random pull.
It really is.
Let's do this random EP that he did
Yeah.
after like the biggest one that we should have probably listened to, Age of Ants.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We'll see. I don't know. I'm excited for it though. I'm
Yeah.
sure it'll be great. The single's fantastic. So
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
and then Tizo Touchdown's got his album coming out next Friday. Finally, I feel like he's been teasing this thing for a long time. I like Tizo. I mean, some songs are a little annoying, but some songs are pretty good. Definitely got that weird rap, like alternative 90s rock fusion kind of thing going on. He's got that Blink 182 kind of vibe going on. It's weird, but I'm into it. So definitely be checking that out. He's definitely like one of the more interesting artists out there right now. So be checking that out. But I think that's it. Whenever Drake's gonna release the Dog album, I don't know when. I'm sure it'll be soon.
Probably.
Could be this Friday. Who knows? I don't know. But I will probably not be listening to it. Although I
What?
probably will eventually because it's a Drake album and I always indulge myself just to be like, maybe this is the good one. I'll like a Drake album. It just hasn't happened yet.
Is the closest one that 21 Savage one?
Yeah, and even that one's really forgettable.
Yeah.
So I mean, Take Care is a good album, but like half of it is like the Weeknd songs that he repurposed. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I like some Drake songs, but I feel like there's not a Drake album where I'm like, yeah, this is the one. I think I just get sick of hearing his voice after about like 15 or 20 minutes.
Oh, sure.
But I mean, oh well, that's just me.
Yeah.
But that's it from music. I don't really have a segment prepared, but I do want to talk about the new Blowback season because Blowback season 4 is out.
The 9/11 one?
Yes, the 9/11 one. Yeah, so they released the first episode last Friday. I bought the premium subscription, so I have all of the episodes and bonus episodes already. But I mean, you could do that for like $25 and you get all of it. So for me, that's a deal. But I think there are weekly episodes every Friday. But yeah, this one is not just the 9/11 season, but that's the eye-catching like ooh 9/11.
Well, that's the cover.
9/11. It is the cover. Yeah. But it's 9/11 and just Afghanistan in general. So this is the biggest season they've done by a long shot. I've listened to about 6 episodes and they cover so much. So it goes through like all the history of Afghanistan, the Soviet invasion, up to like it goes through everything, and it is very complicated and very dense.
Yeah,
but it is
Afghanistan's a
very
weird
good.
one.
Afghanistan is there's so much. There's
Yeah.
so much.
Started
And it's
as a-
all like awful.
Oh yeah, it's just kind of
yeah.
weird that like the Soviets tried for so long, and
Yep.
then like, isn't that like one of the things that like kind of bankrupted them at the end was because
It did. They really got screwed. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. The issue is like they kind of got baited into invading,
Yeah.
and then they all knew it was a mistake, but did it anyways. And it just was one issue on top of a lot of other issues going on at the time. But it's also like all of these players had to be involved because like Afghanistan borders China, it bordered the Soviet Union. It's right next to Iraq, which we were also heavily involved in around that time. Iran with the Contra. Yeah, it was right smack dab in the middle of all of those.
Yeah.
So the season's really dense, but I think it is the most like kind of it relates most to today out of any of the seasons,
Oh, sure.
because all these other seasons are, I don't want to say in a vacuum because nothing's in a vacuum when it comes to history, or anything, but it's like Iraq War, you kind of stay within the barriers of that. Cuban Revolution, obviously, you stick within the barriers of that. Korean War, you stick within the barriers of that. With like, Afghanistan, there is no barriers. It is just chaos for decades, and there's
Yeah.
no good solutions to any of it. So
No.
it's very interesting. It really kind of helps provide a historical basis and a lot of historical context for events going on today. I mean, seeing how America kind of did a proxy situation in Afghanistan and then looking to like the proxy situation in Ukraine with NATO, there's a lot of striking similarities, and you can kind of pick out bits and pieces and be like, oh, this is probably what's going to happen to Ukraine after this conflict is over. And that's really depressing, but very informative too. Because I mean, the strategy for America hasn't really changed much when it comes to this because it's pretty recent.
Yeah.
But even just like it even digs into like some of the stuff in the Xinjiang province in China because of the jihadist problem in Afghanistan, which is right on the border of China, where Xinjiang is, and then yeah, all that kind of stuff. So very good, very informative, but it's also very dense. I'll probably have to listen to it multiple times because you can't get everything out of it on the first go around.
No.
Also, all the episode names are Metal Gear Solid references, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I saw the first episode's called Snake Eater. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh boy, this is gonna
Yeah,
be a
they
good
have
one.
like the Phantom Pain,
Oh
like
boy.
all these things. So it's really
Great.
cool.
I like
And the
that.
soundtrack's really cool too. So yeah, I don't know. They're just a fantastic podcast. It really is cinematic. You get pulled into the storylines, and it is all real history. But like the characters of this are like just so expressive and off the wall. You'd think it's like a Hollywood script, but this
Oh
is
yeah.
just how it actually happened. So yeah, very, very good. I'm still like very, very deep in it. I might pull some stuff out of it eventually and do little segments on certain things, but it is very just geopolitics heavy.
Yeah.
So it's definitely it's definitely headier than something like the Iraq War or the Cuban Revolution season. Um, I feel like this one you're required to know a little bit more about, situations, or just like geopolitics today and recently, to really get a lot out of it. But very good. I've been enjoying that. So shout out to them as always. Very good podcast. They get a lot of they've been getting a lot of press coverage too, in like different magazines and online publications, which is strange.
Really?
Yeah, because their stance is very they don't like tell you their conclusions, but they obviously have a pretty strong, I wouldn't say bias, but they have a certain outlook.
Yeah.
I mean, their whole thing is just like we put all the facts out there and you can draw your own conclusion, but and the conclusions are often biased in their own way because it's hard to
yeah.
look at a situation with all that evidence and be like, actually.
Yeah.
So I'm just surprised that they're getting a lot of online publication like buzz right now, but I'll take it. I mean, this is kind of a gateway for a lot of people, because I mean, us on this podcast, we probably know a lot of things, or at least relatively things surrounding the American Empire, but I don't think the average person cares enough. So when there's a podcast that makes it accessible and not fun, but like inviting, it's still pretty good. So
Well, it's more of a story. I feel like if you put
Exactly.
anything in terms of a story, it's gonna reach more people.
people are going to be more interested. I mean, Oppenheimer is one of the most top grossing films, and it's 3 hours long about basically just scientists in
in the desert.
very particular
Yeah.
And that sold a lot. So
It's officially his highest grossing non-Batman movie.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's still surprising to me.
It is.
Yeah. But anything's possible if you tell a good story, and they tell very good stories on there. So, and the music is just so good, and the audio design is great. So, yeah, very good.
I need to listen to their other stuff. I've listened to the Iraq War one, but I
Yeah.
have not
The Iraq
blended.
War one is really good. I think it's their worst season just because it's the first one and like they were getting their foothold
Yeah.
because like the production value only goes up
Oh,
like
I'm sure.
significantly. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I need to maybe I'll check out this newest one as it's coming
Hmm.
out. But yeah, no. They're good boys.
Real.
Yeah.
And I think that's all I got. Pretty slow week. Feel like it's a busy time of year. I'm ready to not be busy all the time.
Yeah, me too. Um I think this rush that I've been like I worked 21 the last 21 days I had one day off. So
Awesome.
I think that's over. Just because I think a lot of people were going on vacation right before
Yeah.
school started and we lost 3 subs. So all the rest of us had to fill in. So I had to work a lot. Pretty cool. Pretty
Once
neat.
you like don't go to college anymore and you like are working full time around like late July and August, you realize how like crazy it gets.
Oh yeah. Yeah, especially I live in a college town.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know all because I'm a rural mailman, but all the city people are like, "Oh man, now we have to
Hmm.
deliver to college again." Oh rats. But I don't envy them, but also not my problem.
Real.
That's how I view everything, really.
Not my problem. Blah, blah, blah,
Not
blah,
my
blah.
problem, you know. But
I just want to grill.
me too. I don't have a grill, but I
You
guess
can get one.
there's a community grill actually at my place.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, anyone can use it. So I could do that. But also, podcast timing. Before we head out, there was a Nintendo Direct announced
Oh,
for this. Well, I guess when this podcast comes out, it's coming out this Thursday. That is just about the new Super Mario Brothers, the Wonder. It's apparently just going to be 15 minutes of just information on that. Now, what do we think? Are they all going to be elephants? Or is it just Mario?
I hope like Mario's an elephant and then Luigi's like a giraffe
And
because he's tall.
what are Peach and Daisy going to be?
Oh, I don't know. We're like sticking Safari. I feel like we should stick Safari, but like, I don't know.
Cheetah or Daisy could be
Because
like a
Wario
cheetah.
could be like a hippo or something.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah, Daisy
Wario
could
was
be like a cheetah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
While Luigi's like a hyena or something. I don't know. This could work.
It could work. I would like that. But like, here's the thing. I've never really been a fan. Like, I know that I think Daisy is better than the Toad as the 4th slot, but Daisy is just kind of like a reskin of Peach. She doesn't really have
Yeah.
any personality outside of that,
I do like playing Toad because he just goes like, "Wah!"
and he runs fast.
Yeah.
I don't know why their one characteristic is like, okay, Toad's gonna run really fast. That just makes sense. But yeah, I guess we'll see what happens there. I'll probably watch it. I won't watch it live. Well, I mean, theoretically, I could just have it on in the background as I'm sorting mail,
Trucking.
trucking.
Trucking the mail.
I've been watching Hive Mind videos in the morning as as I'm sorting the mail.
Why not?
It's good stuff. Good
Real.
stuff. I always like Midwest boys that are doing goofs.
Exactly.
Just like me, for real.
Just like me for real. Actually, though.
Oh, yeah, I guess we both do have a music thing
Yeah.
going. But yeah, I think that'll do it for this episode. Kind of a boy time mini. Didn't even hit an hour.
Wow.
So we'll see what happens next week. I anticipate that I'm going to have some time off to watch movies. I had this Monday and Tuesday off. It's very nice. I hardly ever have days off inconsecutively like that. So I had a very nice, relaxing couple of days. That's when I watched these 2 films. So hopefully I'll have some time off where they'll let me watch some movies. and not want to die. But I guess we'll see for next week. Well, with that, I bid you adieu.